There's a sense of relief when he's not here.
Who's the side chick?
Oh, the Russian?
Yeah. Or he had a few side chicks.
Yeah, Tony had them all.
He met one at therapy.
Tony
Remember
had
that?
them all, yeah, of course. I just want to be
Who would be the
Chris.
psychologist? Would it be Ray Ratto?
No. Ray is like Carmine from New York.
Oh, yeah, Carmine.
Yeah, overlooking at everybody from New York. Like, what are you doing in New Jersey?
Yeah.
You idiots.
Radio Bonte is Tommy from Goodfellas. Oh, man, a lot of fun
today. And
today.
also, a capo doesn't wear shorts. So I don't know if Ray would fit in there.
No, probably not. Probably not. Although Ray's looking good these days.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how
Are we
you doing?
casting The Sopranos with on-air people?
Yeah, just having fun with it. I said you'd be Uncle June. Because you've been there, done that. You have all the one-liner jokes.
I was giving you Paulie Walnuts.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I wonder who is Christopher.
I love Chris.
Christopher Moltisanti.
He's the best.
And who wants to be Tony Soprano?
he already called himself.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
Gotta play
The self-anointed king.
No, he did it. You guys did it.
No, but Dibs, you run things to the eyes of the feds, but he's really running things.
Yeah. And I wish I wasn't Uncle June, but the eyesight's going, and I'm happy it's at home. And
you don't have belly cancer, right?
No, I hope not. Jeez, although
I shouldn't have said that. I apologize.
Seriously, knock on wood.
I apologize.
But I do have a little bit of an ear problem based on Bonte's takes on Jimmy Garoppolo. I got to tell you, I was stuck in Bay Bridge traffic, as always, every morning, and I'm locked in. I'm a P1. Bonte, you're off the reservation. You couldn't be more wrong about this whole thing. And it makes me upset, Bonte.
Why? Why do you say that? I'm just curious.
Because a couple things. One, if he was good enough to be QB2 in the NFC Championship game, he would have been active. And number two, Kyle Shanahan never dresses three quarterbacks for any particular game. So I don't think that Jimmy G was like, no, Kyle, I'm not good. I'm going to turtle up and be in my Jordans or whatever shoes he was wearing.
Jordans.
His J7s or whatever.
He was rocking the twos. They were so clean.
Yeah, of
the white was
course,
perfect. It was raining out there. I was like, damn, this guy's wearing J's in the rain.
And all the 2019 sound about whether or not he was a 5-letter word back in New England, that does not apply to me.
It's so unfair.
Now, the guy played through pain last year, and he's done a lot for this organization. And honestly, this is where... And I hate to side with Joe because, it makes my stomach turn a little bit. But Philadelphia knocked out both your QBs because they were tougher. They were better than you. You don't lose two QBs if your offensive line is halfway decent, and they weren't. You got dominated. QB1 got knocked out. QB2 got knocked out. You lose. That's the way it goes.
They got knocked out. And I never said that if Jimmy plays, they win the football game. That never once came out of my mouth. All I'm saying is, if these reports are true, and Glazer's reporting some things, we heard about the timeline, we saw Kawakami's mailbag, and he'll be live in studio tomorrow from 8 to 9. Cannot wait. Tim Kawakami, one of the best to do it. He's covered some great teams in his lifetime. The Lakers, UCLA, Philadelphia Eagles, you name it. Now the Niners and the Warriors.
Warrior pregame show.
Great
everything. Teams in American history.
95-7 the game fill in.
Yes,
many times.
Absolutely. Chronicle Live.
Sure.
Yahoo Live, whatever you want to call it.
And by the way, Chronicle Live,
how are you doing?
I dominated him in the Blitz.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was he and I don't even know who else. Maybe Lowell Cone.
Was it a quad box?
In the finals. It was a tri box, and your boy won the first ever Chronicle Live
Who was
Blitz.
hosting that one?
It was Kozimor. That might have been me. Sorry if you can't get a word in edgewise.
Let me ask you the question, answer it, tell you why you're wrong, then allow you to answer it, and then dismiss you immediately.
They're going to review it, Greg. Why?
Chronicle Live with Barry Tompkins coded. That's good knowledge,
dude. That's my mentor.
That used to be the best
Tompkins?
Barry Tompkins is my mentor. So I worked in Marin in the 90s before I went to college and had 5 junior years. And then I went back to Marin, and I was a PE teacher. I was a PE aide. Barry Tompkins' son was a 4-year-old in my preschool baseball class. And so I spot him, and I'm like, oh, my God, that's Barry Tompkins. So I went up to Barry, and I'm like, yeah, I know I'm like a T-ball teacher, but I really want to do what you do. And he said, let's get together. Let's have coffee.
Very cool.
I'm going to help you.
Wow.
Barry Tompkins.
He's
a man.
I went to his camp at Dominican College.
You did?
Yeah, him and Dan. When I was
God.
a junior or senior at San Mateo, went away for a week with Barry Tompkins and Dan Belwamini and stayed in the damn dorms at Dominican College.
I like Dominican
My
College.
roommate was John Bloom. Now,
Wow.
Now radio
Wow.
broadcaster for the Phoenix
Look
Suns.
at you.
And he'll be on at 10:15.
Wait for the Suns have to be in town, Joe.
I thought that's where we were
Yeah,
going.
Buck-
Ephraim.
Put your
Move
junk
on,
back in
Burger.
your pocket. You just got back. I just got back. It's a little quick. It's
Dude,
very
he's
serious.
hot.
By the
Ain't too
way-
much
By the way,
noise
hold
coming
on.
in.
No, Bonte, you never got to finish your sentence.
Hold on.
I
Before
want to
you
hear
start,
you finish
before
your
you take up
sentence.
the next 5 minutes.
No, you finish your sentence. You
I
didn't get
was
to
at
finish your
Perry's
sentence.
yesterday. I was at Perry's yesterday. I don't remember what I said. I was at Perry's yesterday, and my guy, Aldi Butler, said, Dad Dibley was my PE teacher.
Wow.
I said, no way.
Dude,
I
Aldi,
get this 5 times a week. This happened to
Okay.
me at McKinnis Putting Green just last week.
Aldi Butler,
Underrated putting green.
son of Perry Butler,
Yep.
who is the namesake of Perry's. Aldi was a 6th grader. I was a 20.
Great athlete.
I was a 27-year-old like PE aide / yard duty. When the 6th grade middle schoolers would come out for yard duty recess, we would play
Blacktop.
Yeah, exactly, on the blacktop.
my favorite.
We would play the best 6th grade athletes, and Aldi was one of them.
Yep.
There was like 6 or 7 kids. We'd play street hockey.
Oh.
It was me and
Tennis ball or puck?
puck.
Okay.
Actually, no, it was a taped up like wiffle ball.
Okay.
And it was kind of like me and the nerdy kids against Aldi and the elite athletes.
Oh, my God.
Your boy was out there. I would be like
Breaking a sweat.
Oh, dude, not even breaking a sweat. I'm playing like end to end.
Yeah. Life or death.
Our goalie, David Wolf, I think he had cerebral palsy, has cerebral palsy. And he was a gamer.
Yeah.
We'd put him on a pillow in the goal,
Yeah.
give him a stick and a mac, and he loved it.
Oh, wow.
And these kids were like hitting slappers at him. And
Rockets?
dude, stick save, glove save.
love that.
Aldi's
Your
the
boy,
man.
dude, I was out there like playing harder than Draymond Green in the NBA
Sound like me in
Finals.
6th grade practice.
Dude, it was ridiculous.
Aldi good friend. Has been in the SF Players Club Fantasy Football League for over 20 years with him.
Wow,
I've known
okay.
him since he was about probably 15, 16. Good friend. So it was good. I hadn't seen him in ages. He's got 3 kids now.
He's good
And he
people.
happened to be walking out. Perry's
Wow.
like, my boy Matt Payne was like, Painter? Bonte? So we chopped it up for a little bit.
That's
Because,
so
Dan
good.
Dibley was one of my PE teachers. I said,
Yeah.
no way. I got to bring this up. And hence why you always go down to Perry's because you know
yeah.
Aldi's going to write that
So
baby.
you're
it's free.
deflecting story time here. Story time. Mark, what were you going to ask Bonte?
yeah.
Because
Well, yeah.
it sounded like I was
Sorry.
winning the
Before you
argument
took a
this morning.
shot at me for taking too much time, I literally wanted you to finish your sentence.
Man.
You rude piece of. Anyway,
personal.
What was I talking about?
You
How are you
said-
trying to say that now?
You
Rico?
said,
Not
if
suiting up.
all these reports are true about Jimmy, and then you never got to the then. Then what?
Yeah,
Fill
well,
in the
then-
blank.
Well, then it looks weak that he didn't suit up. It looks weak that he didn't suit up with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line.
So
when I'm
unfair.
watching George Kittle and Trent Williams and Christian
so
McCaffrey,
unfair.
y'all go ahead and cape for Jimmy Garoppolo all
It's
you
not
want to.
caping.
There's multiple players in the past. It's not just one. It's not just 2. It's not just 3. And now you got Deebo Samuel. The audio better. Boy, if Deebo Samuel really said what he said on First Take this morning.
What'd he say?
Sounded like he was like, I wish we would have had 3 quarterbacks suited up for the NFC Championship game. 'Cause that makes it sound like.
But what does that mean?
Yeah,
Makes it
exactly.
sound
It
like
just
Jimmy
mean because we
could've been
lost
gone.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
You could infer that.
Yeah, I would have
But-
loved
but
Jacob
maybe-
Eason to be on the roster.
I would love there to be a third quarterback too.
Same fan base who questioned Jimmy Garoppolo's ankle in 2020 during the pandemic season.
Yeah, but there's context, man.
There's
this time.
context. I know there's context
So
to everything.
here's my thing. There's not a
Mark, can you
damn
at least meet me in the middle?
with what.
If he was ready to go, if he could have suited up,
I'm gonna
What
meet
does
you in the
that
middle.
even mean?
I'm gonna meet you in the middle, and here's what I mean by that. If you're a fan, because sports is different, yes, you're allowed to be frustrated by that. And even though it's a what if, you're allowed to be frustrated. Jimmy, could you have given us something and you didn't? That can frustrate you. Here's the other truth. Not a damn one of us in the world wouldn't have made the exact same decision.
No.
He is with what he's been through, and he's about to be a free agent after what just happened last
isn't that
offseason.
selfish?
Well, Kevin
Yes.
Durant had
And
a
aren't,
similar.
and aren't we all?
Kevin
No.
Durant had a
That, like,
similar situation.
No way he plays. They're
Kevin
so
Durant
but
played.
dangerous to his career.
You're saying that no one would do it.
Kevin
Now, the
Durant
NFL
did.
is so different from the NBA. Look, Clay was out for a whole year. We gave him, $300 million, $200 million. Like, that's what happens in the NBA. And I'm not faulting the Warriors or Clay or whatever. KD was going to get a max no matter what. But he did go out there.
Yep.
And
Didn't have to
risk
play.
everything. And I have unbelievable, tremendous admiration and appreciation for what he did. Now, you can make the other argument that Jimmy isn't in the stratosphere of KD in terms of the financial ramifications.
KD, not even just financial. KD's a made man, as you said.
Good point.
He didn't have to play in that game.
Max contract awaits whether you get hurt or not.
Exactly.
This is not true for Jimmy. Jimmy just went through this.
Agreed.
Put all the dollars on the line, lost them all. No one's crying for Jimmy's money, but it's just funny to me how in sports we want people to be company guys. But if you are in real life,
good point.
you're a jerk. You're a jerk if you're a company guy in real life.
But you know what? I'm looking at it just from his teammates' perspective. They're scratching and clawing against a tough Philadelphia Eagles team. Got no quarterback. Fred Warner Jr. got hurt on like the second or third play of the game. Comes back out of the blue tent. Spencer Burford in the blue tent comes back into the football game.
But those guys were all dressed and ready to play in that game.
But Christian McCaffrey's going out there laying it on the line. So all I'm saying is if that's the case, if Jimmy's like, you know what, I'm going to be selfish, then that's weak to me. That's weak to me with the Super Bowl trip on the line and the money that he may have been able to earn by playing. Now, again, we don't know if these reports are true.
Yeah.
If these reports are not true, but when there's smoke, there's a fire, baby.
If Josh
and this
Johnson
ain't coming out of
doesn't
nowhere.
get concussed, this is never a topic because Josh Johnson was 100% healthy and he was more ready to play in that game than Jimmy Garoppolo was. And if you want to criticize anyone, criticize Kyle Shanahan for not having 3 quarterbacks up on game day, which, by the way, he never does, and nobody ever does. And Mark actually made a great point a couple weeks ago about, the whole, we need a 3rd quarterback emergency rule where they gave you a 46-man on the active roster and almost nobody uses it for a quarterback. So Kyle Shanahan had a chance to, all right, just in case if Brock gets hurt and Josh is not good enough, maybe Jimmy can be activated, but they didn't make that decision. So you got to lie with it.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, I just think, it's there, even when you bring up other players that go into the tent and come back, like we have to admit, even McCaffrey, right? These are people who they're on the 49ers. They're on the 49ers next year. They're a part of this team. Could you make that case about Jimmy? Sure, you could spin it that way. I could
played
also
through it last year.
Right, because
he didn't have to come back.
No, but contractually, he's still on the football team. Like the second this guy gets announced out for the year, if I'm Jimmy, I'm not on the team anymore. Yeah, flew to Philly, sat on the bench. Even his smile, it bothered people, but it should tell you what the truth is. Jimmy just on the ride with his buddies, not on the team anymore. This is why the whole Joe Montana thing was so weird earlier this week.
Well, Montana's
what
been
did Baldy,
weird
what
off
did Baldy
the field.
say to you guys yesterday?
He said that Jimmy gives him the best. He might be their best chance.
He's not on the team.
I know.
Like, I don't know why everyone keeps bringing him up because he's no different than
Laken Tomlinson,
Aaron Rodgers,
Lamar Jackson,
Tom Brady.
He's not on the team.
Right.
Yeah.
You
But
have to go sign him.
The difference there is Lamar can be franchise tagged. Jimmy can't.
No, he can't.
Which means he's even less on the team.
Exactly. Right. So I guess that means Squire 2, King 0 today.
No. I'm saying how is that? That's pretty soft. I'm actually really disappointed in you today, Joe Shasky, the butcher. If this guy could have suited up and you're out here caping for him being selfish, looking out for himself.
How would we even
how do you even 46 guys fighting on a Sunday?
Unless a trainer comes out or
that's
someone
disappointing.
Doctor's like, we gave him 100% clean bill, and he said, you know what? I refuse to play. Like, I find that so.
Well,
do you know
Tom
how
Brady
many
tried to
ifs
play?
that is?
Let me ask you
do you know how
this.
many ifs
Well,
that
hold
is?
on.
Will Tom Brady try to play? Will Mahomes try to play? Will Phillip Rivers try to play?
Trey Lance
Will Jeff Garcia?
Trey Lance is on the sideline.
Wait,
Trey
he was in a
Lance
boot.
had
He was in a
shoes
walking
on.
boot. He had a walking boot on.
Right.
We watched him walk
But
out. He had a walking boot on.
You're bringing up
But
guys
Jimmy had
that
a
are
walking boot on like 4 days earlier.
Would Jeff Garcia go out there and do everything he could to get on that football field?
But you're bringing up guys that are in totally different situations than Jimmy.
You're a warrior. You're fighting for your team.
Nah,
You're a
man.
football player.
No,
this is what you're wired to do.
Yeah, he's a football player, and he's trying to play football for somebody next year. Like, so first off, if he was going to be QB3, that automatically means he's not healthy enough to be QB2, which automatically means he's not 100%, which now automatically means you're asking a guy at less than 100%, knowing what already happened last year and everything up to this point now, to go out there hobbled and put his free agency and future starting job somewhere else on the line. He's already lost it once. You're going to have him put that on the line in a situation where he's not even physically able to take care of himself against the best pass rush in the NFL. Like, his agent would have called him and yelled at him if he tried to put a uniform on.
I hear you.
And so, like,
he probably did that last year.
I'm meeting you in the middle. I get it. That's hard for a fan because of the way this played out. It stinks. But you got to be real about what you would have done if you were Jimmy.
I would have played if I was Jimmy.
It's easy to say.
I'd have put Jordans on and smiled.
If that was your son,
as a competitor,
if that was your son, you would say to him,
I say, do what you want to do, son.
Okay.
The decision's yours. You're a grown-ass man. If you want to go play, I back you 100%. That's
Because
what I
Lamar
would
Jackson
do.
was faced with almost a very similar situation with more money probably at stake. And, I mean, nobody's crushing Lamar.
But
We all
he's a
kind of
different
get
quarterback. But he's a different quarterback, and he's done a lot for Baltimore. And you look at what Baltimore's done for him.
Jimmy's
not
done a
adding
lot for
wide
the Niners.
receivers,
And
not
I'm not
adding wide
comparing
receivers, not
contrast.
compared to Lamar Jackson's carried that franchise. And he's
Agreed.
had no help, and he takes all the blame for everything. And he's actually put up MVP numbers for the Baltimore Ravens.
Hindsight
I get
is
it, and they
20/20
decided
when
not
it
to pay
comes to
him.
this. I
They
mean-
decided to let Lamar Jackson get to
they
this point.
offered him
And he was like, "I want more money."
They offered him a deal well below market value.
Exactly.
And he was healthy enough to play in the playoff game, but he chose that he wanted to do something else.
Yes.
He wanted to get his payday.
Actually, he came out and tweeted and said, "My knee is not stable enough. Trust me, if I could
Right.
play, I would play."
So his
people
knee's
painted
not
a wrong
stable
picture
enough,
of Lamar
but
Jackson.
Jimmy Garoppolo, because
because
he's
he said
smiling
that.
in high tops,
we're
his ankle.
believing Jimmy Garoppolo. We can't believe
You're
Lamar
not
Jackson.
believing- you're not believing Jimmy
Come on.
Garoppolo.
Lamar
That's the
Jackson
point.
went out there and
You're
tweeted.
not believing Jimmy Garoppolo.
Lamar Jackson went
That's
out there and
the greater
tweeted.
point.
Lamar went out there and tweeted and said, "Trust me, if I could play, I would have played against the Cincinnati Bengals."
Don't you
think I don't want to play
doesn't
football?
Jimmy
He didn't
deserve the
play.
same benefit
Exactly.
of doubt? That's all.
You're not giving him the benefit of the doubt
I
because
am.
he had high tops on
I
and he
am.
happened to be smiling. So
Dude, he has some free. I didn't see no limp.
And it
I'll
feels
tell
like
you
we're
that.
looking
We
like
both watch him walk on the
Yeah,
field so much
exactly.
like.
Because
He's
he's
walking
got
out
a
there
limp
like
in order
Roz
for
would
you
die.
to- for you- in order for you to think
Man,
that
he
he
walked
shouldn't
out
be
there
able to
like
play.
Roz would die. It
That's
was
terrible,
chilling.
Monte.
Lamar
It's a bad
terrible.
take.
Lamar
If-
wasn't limping either.
If these reports
Lamar
are
wasn't
true,
limping
Lamar
either,
went out there and
so.
tweeted and said, "Hey, my knee's not stable enough. If I could play, I could play."
Right.
The player said that.
So
Are we
if
going to call the player a liar?
if Lamar would have gotten 175 million with 100 million guaranteed 5 weeks earlier, would he have gone out there and gutted it out? I
Don't
would
know.
imagine that he would have.
Don't know.
But the fact that he was unpaid
And it wasn't possible because
and he
they
was
said-
vulnerable,
Well,
the fact that he was not a guy who was a made man, he didn't go out there. And Jimmy Garoppolo, similarly, is not a made man. He's got to go
Lamar
out there and
Jackson
get a
already
contract.
he cut
so-
off the Ravens before the season. He said, "I'm not negotiating during the season," so no contract was going to happen during the season with Lamar
Right. But if
Jackson.
they come to him and say 200 million guaranteed, you tell me he doesn't sign that
So,
deal?
Wait, would you
It's
be okay if
nonsense.
Jimmy, who doesn't go to Twitter anymore, if he had gone to Twitter and said, "Trust me, my ankle's not stable enough," you'd be okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm like, hey,
So
I
you
believe
need a
that.
tweet. So you need what you need now is a tweet.
Hear it from Jimmy Garoppolo himself. I'm not saying he's wrong here.
But he doesn't do
when
that.
there's smoke, there's fire.
He doesn't talk.
Shanahan wasn't pissed off just for, hey, losing the NFC title game. He was very dismissive of Jimmy Garoppolo. Very.
Yeah.
And in the same reports that were not verified, but a lot of people were talking out here, Jimmy could have came back during the pandemic season, but he stayed. Like, come on, man.
Now listen, this is a different subject. Like what Tim K wrote about, are there ruffled feathers through the years between
Well, that
Jimmy and
makes a
Kyle
lot
and
of
John?
sense.
Well,
Duh.
I mean, I've been sitting here for
I'm
2
saying-
years already going, when are we going to hear about this fight?
I'm saying, this is not the first
feels like
time.
it should be that
This is
way.
not the first time somebody has questioned Jimmy Garoppolo's availability to play.
That's true.
Right.
That's
Well,
It's
true.
happened multiple times.
If you're
true.
if
You
you
know?
want to lay blame, lay it on Kyle Shanahan because Tevin Coleman played one snap and Jalen Moore played 2 snaps. He played 1 on special teams and he played 1 on the offensive line. So if you want to talk about a 46-man roster, if you would have thought as Kyle Shanahan, okay, what are we looking at here? Do I need Tevin Coleman or do I need a third quarterback in an emergency spot? And if that's what you wanted, if you wanted Tevin Coleman and Jimmy Garoppolo said, "Nah, I can't go, play Tevin Coleman," that's a different story.
And even then, I would have said, suit up Drake Jackson because you don't have enough pass rush.
Something.
Over
Something.
Tevin Coleman because the
Something.
Tevin Coleman thing.
So
That's-
if you want to really drill down on the roster construction on that day, you can look at those 2 players who played 2 snaps and 1 snap.
Right.
But honestly, I look at the way that game went, and Mark and I differ in this vein. Philadelphia dominated.
They
you.
were gonna win
There's
the
a
game.
reason why you lost 2
I don't know if they
quarterbacks.
dominated.
I'll never
Yeah.
There's a
accept
reason
They
that.
didn't
why you
dominate.
lost
They
both your
averaged
quarterbacks.
3.8 yards a play.
They
We
knocked
watched
out
that game.
both your QBs.
Yeah, but you know what? That's a funny thing that I hear people say. Like, I do not equate. It feels like people are equating injuries to dominance. I equate injuries to circumstance. Everybody got tackled in the game. Everybody got hit in
But
the
what
game.
was the circumstance of the Brock Purdy injury?
He got sacked
By
It
a
just-
ferocious pass rusher.
So
who
the
was all
49ers
over
pass
you.
rushers are not ferocious?
Did they
Like,
hit Jalen Hurts at all?
That's not the
Once?
point. Everybody got tackled
No,
in
that
the game.
is the point.
No, if you get tackled, Brock got tackled a certain way. And it snapped a ligament.
Mark,
that doesn't. I'm not giving Philly like.
Tony
oh,
Dissett
didn't dominate the game.
separated his
The game-
shoulder in the 81 NFC Championship
Yeah.
game. First quarter. Doesn't play the rest of the game.
Right.
Does anyone care?
I don't know. We're
it's a
not in Dallas. It
circumstantial
was
argument.
1982.
No, but that's my
How did
It's 1982.
I don't understand.
They won the
1982.
game.
I'm
They
sure
won the
somebody
game.
in Dallas said something.
Well, of course they won
Like
the
the
game.
Warriors lost. Okay, for example, the Warriors beat Cleveland, and yes, part of that was Kyrie was hurt and Kevin Love, and whatever. That's just part of it.
Oh well, but that's different. What
How?
I'm saying is people's assessment of this game. Yes, Philadelphia won, and history will not take time to go through what the 49ers went through. But a lot of people are saying you forget the subject of the 49ers losing their quarterbacks. That was the result of Philadelphia's dominance.
It was baked into the lasagna of losing.
I don't accept that. To me, they got tackled. Wow. They got tackled a certain way, and it was incredibly unfortunate, and it robbed us of a true view of what that game could have, should have been. I don't know if the 49ers would have won if they were at full strength. I think they would have had a shot.
I agree with
Would have
that.
had a shot,
but
so
they would have more of a shot, but the reason why you lost both quarterbacks was because Philadelphia's defensive linemen
I'll
beat
never agree
the
with. I'll never agree
all
with
you have
that.
to do is look at the tape. Hassan Reddick owns McGlinchey
Dibs, it's
and
not
lights
tape.
up Brock
It's not.
Purdy. Injury.
It's
Josh
not.
Johnson got Ndamukong
got
sued.
crushed.
So Jalen Hurts never got
Conte.
touched in the game.
How many times did he get hit?
Doesn't
Mark?
matter. Brock Purdy.
Once?
How many times did Brock Purdy get hit?
Enough.
Once.
Yes, one and
Once.
done. Night, Brock.
So no, it doesn't work that way.
After
I don't
Sunday,
want to go into the weeds
Dude,
on this.
after Sunday,
This is a silly argument.
when Philadelphia brings the lumber on
Oh, I
Kansas
hope
City,
not. I hope
you're going to
not.
change your tune on Monday.
Yeah,
It's
I
the way
know
it's
the
the way
Eagles
it's
a lot.
going to go.
No, I
Save
won't.
me, Mahomes, please.
Sorry,
I like the
it's
Eagles
not
a lot.
happening.
By the way,
That D-line is
Philadelphia's going to
that
dominate.
D-line is
Kansas City.
ferocious. Front sevens in the
guy.
trenches. How many times we need to see people dominate the line of script? Like Philadelphia is ferocious up
They
front.
are
Mike
very good.
McGlinchey's looking for a job because of Hassan Reddick.
But the 49ers,
Those are facts.
49ers might want him back. I don't know if they're going to find
Jesus
something better. But
Christ.
anyway,
It's time for Colton McKivitz.
isn't it odd? And I thought it was my guy, Robert Alberino, who used to work for the 49ers
Oh, the
and
Chiefs guy.
now works for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And he put out a Twitter poll yesterday
Who's that?
back to his old 49er audience, like, who are you pulling for this
And?
weekend? It was like 90% Kansas City,
yeah.
Well, I mean,
which is fascinating. I mean, I get it in the circumstance, but if you had asked any of us
Len Dawson.
13 days ago, we hate the Chiefs.
I know.
People wanted the Chiefs again so we could have another shot at them and all this.
I was
thing.
rooting for Burrow.
Is everybody rooting for the Chiefs just
course.
because of the way it went down in Philly?
Of course.
I mean,
Well, whatever happened to that notion of, you lost to the
You
best
lost to the
team?
best.
And,
No.
Well, you lost to the Chiefs too this year.
No.
You got blown out by the Chiefs at
Dodgers
home.
beat you. They're the best
right,
team.
the Dodgers.
Right.
Right,
I mean, like,
exactly.
no.
You got blown out by the
Exactly.
Chiefs at home. So, I mean, either way, you lost to the better team.
That's a
And
good
I
point, too.
understand
That's a
your,
good point,
your
too.
guys' perspective, having been there, having hot dogs thrown at you by a bunch
they're
of
writing articles about us.
yeah.
Oh, they
dude,
call us complete frauds.
My mother-in-law keeps sending me articles from blogs on the Facebook, and just the comments are just.
Calling specifically you two?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
clowns.
Oh, yeah.
Frauds?
They're all over.
Frauds.
They got our picture everywhere.
You're frauds for what?
Oh, because we
what
ripped
did you
the
put out
city.
there that you did?
Yeah,
that
and they
then
said
you
that
didn't do?
the hazing that we got. Oh, that's just a few bad apples. You know, and I'm like, okay,
But I don't understand what's
I got
fraudulent.
COVID in my face.
But
I mean, you know,
but
other
what's
than that.
fraudulent?
I don't know. It's Philadelphia.
Yeah,
You're
I
talking
mean-
about some of the most irrational people on
Well,
the planet
sure.
Earth.
Sure.
I mean,
They're
Mark,
just angry.
It's I told my mother-in-law I need you to stop sending me the blogs. Don't look at them.
Oh,
Don't comment.
yeah.
Just lay off the comment section. It's all good.
The next time I go to my mom's house and I don't get a cut-out newspaper article about something, will be
Yeah.
the first.
I know.
It's
They mean well.
adorable.
I
It's
know.
ador-
They
I'm
mean
like,
well.
all
You know
I
what
do
you
is I look at it and I go, you still get a newspaper. That's so cute.
Before we get out of here, because I got a haircut coming up.
What hair?
TPC Scottsdale.
you cut hair?
I'm getting my haircut.
Yeah.
Crazy brother.
Yeah.
The homie. All right.
Nice.
I'm saying, what are you cutting?
TPC Scottsdale, waste management.
What
Isn't it
about
a
it?
fun event if you're a non-golf fan? Just to
my
casually
God.
throw on, especially the back
And
nine.
it's
Oh, you
super
mean to
fun
watch?
if you're a golfer. Like,
Yes.
not many golfers like shy away from. I don't know if you've seen it, Bonte. The 16th hole. There's
Thank
like
you.
30,000 people.
Thank you.
And it's basically like going to Cameron Indoor
Yes.
Stadium. It's like going to Philadelphia.
Yes,
as a
it
Niner
is.
fan.
It is.
It's about as raucous as it gets. They throw things.
Yeah.
They chant.
Except for those T-Birds are educated. Like, they have done studies on every player who's
Yes.
going to come through, and
Yes.
they know everything about
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
So their chants are like
It's pretty
next
cool.
level. They'll
I've
know
never gone.
about
Have
your
you gone?
mom. They'll know
Never
about
gone, no.
yeah.
None of us have gone.
It's the
You
one
do
time,
not-
Bonte, that golf turns into
Fun.
like college
a
football.
rock.
Yeah.
It's a
This
rock.
Outside of the
one
Ryder
whole-
Cup.
show.
It's well,
For
and
just
the
you
Ryder Cup.
guys,
I know.
I'll check it out.
Please.
No,
Now,
you-
what channel is
no,
it
but
on? I don't know if I get the channel.
Golf Channel.
I don't know if
Oh, do I
TV
get that
hole.
one? Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah,
they take
yeah.
my money for that.
I don't know if
Yeah.
TV
Sports
does
package.
it the justice that I mean. It's more like
It's an event.
if you're there. I
you've
think
been?
there are as many people who are not golf fans as are. There's rock shows.
Yes.
There's comedy.
It's an
there's
influencer event, is what they're calling it now.
high heels. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on there. It's totally different.
Super boozy, Bonte, and you got 30,000 like boozed up fans, and it's the closest thing to actual non-golf sports as
Yeah.
you find in the entire year.
I
I'll
got
check it
Tiger-
out.
Tiger-
I'll check it. The way
You'll
he
like
talked
it.
it up
You'll
made me
like it.
tune out.
You want to know what you could look
I
up?
love you, Shasky.
Tiger Woods hit a hole in one
It's
on
so
this hole
cool.
once upon a time.
16 in front of 30,000.
YouTube, yes, and it
Wow.
it is every bit as loud as Philly was for you guys a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
It goes
Wow.
crazy.
Real quick before we get
Yeah,
out of here,
man.
LeBron James, all-time leading scorer in NBA history now.
I thought it was a great moment the way it all played out. They took their time. LeBron drops an F-bomb, and it
was awesome.
He didn't thank God, which God was the favorite.
Really?
God was the
I didn't
chalk
pick that up.
on who he would thank. We went through it yesterday, Mark, and we did the who does he thank first odds. He thanked the fans first. He
Wow.
didn't thank the big G. Little bit of an
Wow.
upset.
Wow.
He didn't thank his Lord and Savior JC. He didn't thank the big G.
Captain being there, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar giving him the ball. That was pretty cool.
it's
Very cool.
What's interesting, I think, is the way that this will start to shape the stupidest, oldest, most played out argument ever. Which
Who's
is
the GOAT?
Well, LeBron versus MJ, right?
It's
I
so
hate
dumb.
it. The
It
fact
is-
that he's made it
well,
a conversation, I think, speaks to his greatness.
Absolutely, and he has said publicly he believes he's the greatest of all time, and you can absolutely make the case. You
Yeah.
totally can make the case. One thing I found interesting. So we're talking about this. Kyle hits us on email last night, and his perspective on it. He said something.
No text message?
No, it wasn't a text this time. This was an email.
That's the thread.
And he writes, it's insane what happened. And he writes, I think in 20 years, when the Jordan nostalgia wears off,
That's never going to happen.
LeBron is going to be considered the best of all time. And I was like, that's a fascinating statement for what you just said. I go, first of all,
The Jordan people are going to
nostalgia-
hold that
I go
forever.
yeah,
we're
but we're going to
already-
age out.
We're already 30 years
20
in.
years from now,
Yeah.
I'll be 60.
Right. But,
Yeah, but Willie
right,
Willie Mays, like, for example, like, we're Bond stands.
Right.
Willie Mays still has that, and I didn't even see him, but like, because of my dad's tales, we hold
Right.
Willie so high up there.
And those of us who remember Kareem, and I lived through
Yes.
the Kareem days, Kareem was, I mean, he was the greatest
Yeah.
player I ever saw until Jordan.
Until
and
Jordan.
now LeBron.
My son is 16. He's at high school right now. Hopefully, he got there on time with Jordans on.
of course he
Yeah,
is.
see,
Right? Like,
so,
he
yeah.
never watched him
Well,
play.
The shoe
you know
thing
what?
is a
The
big
shoes
thing.
thing is
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
because
Yeah.
how do we look at John Madden, right? The video game.
Of course.
It's
Yeah. The video
enhanced
game's
John
bigger
Madden.
than his
It's- Yeah,
broadcast.
it's
Yeah.
elevated John Madden to another stratosphere.
Funny
so
because I
that's
was
the
watching
point.
with my wife last night, the lovely supper.
Cocoa
and
Melons?
Well, Cocoa Melons is put aside for the moment, and thank you for that, by the way. We are now addicted as a
They're
family.
all at that, and wait till
Dude,
Cars comes.
Just the whole thing.
Wait till
My
baby's
baby's too
10.
young. She's
Baby
too young to watch
10.
TV, but you throw on the TV and she will shut
She'll
up for 5
hey,
minutes.
trance.
We're
It's like a
pro-trans.
trance.
Oh, dude,
Screens
Cocoa Melons.
of power.
So
Oh,
we're watching
dude,
last night
Little
LeBron,
Angel.
and my lovely
Baby
supper
John.
turns to me after we're watching LeBron, the whole thing. She turns to me and she goes, "Who's your GOAT?" And I'm like, "Damn, who's my
That's a
GOAT?"
personal question.
And I said,
Coming up in 5
it's-
minutes.
I said, "It's still Michael Jordan."
Yeah.
So
Well,
she
I
hit
do-
me with a, "Who's your GOAT?"
I
was
wonder
like, "Damn."
this to Kyle's point. Let's say, I don't know how many years. Let's pretend the Earth will still
Not
exist
5,
here.
not
in
6.
80 when we get to people who never saw either of them play, if you just put them on paper, oh my God, people will be like, why did people think Jordan was better than LeBron? If it's
6-0 in the finals.
right,
Defensive
except
Player of
for
the Years.
all of the years that he didn't win the championship, he didn't even get to the finals. So it's like, why
Right.
is LeBron gets dinged for going further before he loses?
like the Montana
Right.
Brady.
Right.
bit.
Which is
it's,
weird.
It's the way
I get
he's
it.
lost some of
So-
those games.
right,
And
but
the
you
way
won't
Jordan
know that.
lost, it was like when he dropped 63 at the Garden and he's coming back from a broken foot. He shouldn't have came back that season.
Yeah, but what about
Yet
losing
he
to
came
Orlando
back.
Magic?
Yeah.
So what happens when
he came back to play baseball though?
But what happens
He was
when
out. He was out. He came back.
Yeah, but you don't get credit
and
for
then the next
choosing
year,
to go away from the game.
But listen, you come back the next year and you sweep the Orlando Magic.
Okay.
And it showed that, he was
he
just
did lose.
rusty.
See, but you have the perspective.
Exactly.
What happens when all of that is just on a piece of
it's
paper?
going to be LeBron. It's going to be LeBron.
You
and
look
people
at it
will
and
see
go,
that.
oh, my gosh, why did people argue about this?
I'll say this. For one game, if I had to win one basketball game, I'm taking Jordan over LeBron.
Yeah, I'm with you
All
on
day
that.
long.
I'm with you on that.
All day long. I don't care about accolades. All right, fun show. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Willard and Dibs coming up next until high noon. Have a good day, everybody.
Every inch of my body and anything that comes out is for sale.